Okay, I am back on the Talk Music podcast. It is holiday season, and I am talking to, on this special New Year's episode, I'm talking to the greatest acoustic guitar player on earth, in my opinion, and he is Tommy Emmanuel, and he's right here. Tommy, how are you?
And what the hell does Scott know, ladies and gentlemen?
Exactly, exactly. I mean, if there's one thing that I can get right, it's two things. I married the right woman, and I'm right. I'm right about saying this: that Tommy Emmanuel is the greatest guitar player on earth, in my opinion. A lot to talk about, Tommy. A lot to talk about. It's been
Oh,
a wee
okay.
while. It's been a
It's
wee
been a
while.
wee while, and I'm coming back to Glasgow at the towards the end of this month. This up and coming month, I should say, and always love a Glasgow audience is one of the greatest on the planet. I remember when I first started playing there, that I was like overwhelmed with the response of the people. They were just like shouting the roof off and having a great time. And, a guy who pours everything into it to get that kind of response, holy smoke, you can't ask for better than that. If you can't get inspired by that, then you're a slug.
You are a slug indeed. Now we truly, truly appreciate you coming on, especially your for anybody that doesn't know, you're in London right now and you're spending
I
some
am.
family time, and I truly, truly appreciate that. So we wanted to make a very kind gesture. It's still Christmas season, so
All
look at
right.
this, Tommy. If you think that this isn't not you only coming to the UK to fanatical reaction, I'm sure, but on top of this, look at what's awaiting you as you get here.
Great. Loch
It's a
Ness, look
it's
at
a
that.
Loch
Oh,
Ness t-shirt, and on top of that. It's
oh.
shortbread. Have you had shortbread before? Because we're giving you the whole kit and caboodle.
Oh
Look at
my
this.
God, I can't wait. You know how much I love. I am a total shortbread addict, and I'm
Really?
fortunate. Yeah, I'm. Uh, once I start, I can't stop. So I guess I'm an addict.
A shortbread addict. So there you go. Put that on the Instagram bio. The shortbread addict is Tommy Emmanuel, and this
Oh,
awaits you when you
beautiful.
come to Scotland. And a serious note, truly appreciate that. I mean, it's holiday season, and you're spending the time talking to me. So listen, absolutely brilliant. Now you mentioned there. On the stage and almost like commanding an audience on your own. So this is what I want to talk to you about because I've watched a lot of your interviews and obviously you and I have spoken a good couple of times before.
Yeah,
People always ask you, how do you play this song? How do you play that song? Give us advice in this, give us advice in that. One thing that
mm,
maybe hasn't been touched upon is how to kind of command an audience when it's just you. So when I see lots of bands up there, there's four or five individuals, but when it's that one individual, a lot could say that, there's more pressure on that person. How have you
yeah.
found that over the years and how have you evolved as a solo performer, if you will, been able to command that audience?
Oh, well, that's a great question, and I appreciate that. I think because I've been doing this since I was a little boy, and I was in love with being on stage. Um, I've been through the stages of um, doing gigs where nobody's really listening, in restaurants, bars, pubs, where people are there to drink and meet each other and all that sort of stuff. And I've been through the stages of absolutely hammering the hell out of the audience, playing everything as loud and as fast and as hard as I can because I need to get paid at the end, and so they don't repossess my car. I've been through all that. So what I do now is my focus is always on trying to play well, right? That's my number one priority when I walk on stage is that I'm always expecting magic to happen, always. And if it doesn't, then I better have some good songs and good arrangements to play with all my heart, because that will get me through. That will give the people a good time. But what I'm hoping for every time I walk on stage is that absolute magic to be there, that I may be given uh, uh, good ideas that make a flow, that music almost spiritually flows through me. And that's what I'm looking for because that's what makes everybody uh, catch their breath and sit back and be in the moment, you know? I think people sitting right in front of me, putting their phone up, trying to video me, is part of the destruction of that. But I try not to let that make me angry or feel um, less than I should at that time. I I definitely, I always say something like, you know, you should be in this moment, because whatever you're recording, the feeling from this moment is not going to be on there. It's just going to be a video of a guy playing, and the feeling that you're having right now is only here because it's right now. You know, so um, I never think about commanding an audience. I never use that phrase because I don't command anything.
Mm.
You know, um, what I do is that I have a faith that if I show up, dress up, and do my best, that whatever I do has an effect on you, and I don't know what that is, but I do know that that's why I'm here. So my my reason for being here on earth is what happens to you, the listener and the experiencer. What happens to you when I play? That's my reason for being here, and I believe I know that, and I'm supposed to know that, and so then I'm supposed to serve that. And so by me serving that, I put myself in a position of, even if you don't like it, I'm still doing my job. I'm still showing up and doing the best I can. So I always want the magic, and I always want people to really have a great time. And I don't really care if guitar aficionados say, "Oh, he wasn't as good as he was last time," or he's slowing down, or whatever bullshit people want to say. It doesn't bother me. I totally play in the moment, and I totally play for my audience. That's the bottom line.
That's very insightful, and thanks very much for that. And
Good.
anybody that's saying that you're slowing down, it is total bullshit. I can totally confirm that. Now you mentioned about phones there, people filming you, people being in the moment, and how maybe the audience. I don't want to say the audience has changed, but the way everybody consumes music, the way people interact with artists is certainly very different from when. I mean, I can remember you writing letters to artists as well. Now, you and I mentioned this before when you told me this story. I'd love to get it again. You wrote a letter to a certain guitar player, Chet
Yeah,
Atkins, many years ago.
I
Tell us
did.
about that. What made you want to write this man a letter? What was in that
Okay.
letter? And was there a response? I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. Well, I was 11 years old, and my father, who I adored and idolized, passed away suddenly, and I was sad and lost as a little boy, and so I retreated into my room all the time, and with my record player, listening to Chet Atkins records. It's the only time I felt like really good, you know. And I don't know where I got the idea or whatever. I just decided I want to write him a letter. So I wrote this fan letter, which was something along the lines. I can't remember exactly what I wrote, but it was something along the lines of I'm from Australia. I play the guitar. I'm trying to play like you. I'm trying to work out what you're doing, and it's very hard, stuff like that. And please send me a photograph. Your biggest fan, you Tom. In those days, I was just Tom. So Tom Emmanuel, rhythm guitarist, and and on the envelope I put Chet Atkins, Nashville, America. That's it. Put a bunch of stamps on it and sent it, and he got it. And about 2 months later, I came home from school, and my mother said, "Go into your room. There's something on your bed." And I went in, there was a big brown envelope with like eagle stamps on it and RCA records at the top. And I knew exactly what it was. And there it was, a letter from my hero and a black and white photograph signed to me, you know. And I can't tell you what that did to me. It made me feel 10 feet tall, but it made me feel connected to the world that I wanted to be in. I wanted to be in show business. I wanted to be with other performers, and I wanted to be a recording artist, and I wanted to be a performer and all that stuff. And just by him writing back to me made me feel connected to something bigger.
Mhm.
And I can say that now because it was a long time ago and I can reflect on it. But I can see as a kid, it really lifted me up. And it was also a great period in my life because my brother and I were given records by Buck Owens, um, Chet Atkins records, Merle Travis records, um, and records that had great guitar playing on them. And him and I spent every waking minute working out people's playing and trying to copy every lick we heard, even the steel guitar stuff and the banjo licks and stuff on country records. We copied everything, you know, and that's how we learned, you know.
It's unbelievable. And do you feel that? I mean, I probably know the answer to this question, but I'll ask it nonetheless. Did you, not in a literal sense, but did you carry that letter for years? Do you think? Do you feel as if that inspired you, not just for that moment and going away and feeling connected with Chet, but has that always been a continuous source of inspiration, rather, knowing that you had that
Well,
connection?
Well, it opened the door for me with my hero, and we stayed in touch. And here's what happened. So when I was what was it 7 years later, I was 18, and I was living in Sydney, and um, some friends of mine recorded me playing. I didn't know they did this, but they recorded me playing, sitting on their couch playing some Chet Atkins and Jerry Reed tunes, and they recorded me and sent the tape to Chet. And unbeknownst to me, you know, anyway, I get this note out of the blue and it was just like a little handwritten note from Chet, and it said, um, "I got your tape. I can't wait to meet you. Um, here's my office number. Call me when you get to Nashville." That's it. And it was 7 years later that I saved enough money and got a passport and all that stuff, and made the pilgrimage to Nashville. And when I got into town, I called that number, and he answered the phone, and I said, "It's Tommy Emmanuel from Australia," thinking he won't have a clue who I am. And he said, "Hey, Tommy, where are you?" And I said, "I'm down the road at the Holiday Inn." And he said, "Well, come on down. I'll see you right now." So I jumped in my little Toyota Corolla and and ran down to his office. And you know, I was about to meet my hero. You know, the guy I sat there studying his records my whole life, and he walked down the stairs with his one of his guitars, and there he was. You know, he looked exactly like he did on his records. And he came up to me and he spoke so quietly and so sweetly, you know. And he said, "You want to pick a little?" And I said, "Sure." And you know, we go into a side office, and I start playing "Me and Bobby McGee," which was a very popular song back then, 1980.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm playing it fairly similar to how he recorded it, you know. And he's watching me, and then he joins in. And what he played made me sound real good. You know what I mean? He he knew the right thing to play, and not only did he play harmony things and things, but he made he made what I was doing just sound like it was $1,000,000, you know. And I had a great guitar lesson that day, and
Wow.
which I still draw on. You know, I love being an accompanist, and I love doing to other people what he did to me. You know.
Well, right off the back of that, Tommy, when you're attending all these guitar retreats that you put on, and everybody can get the information online on Tommy Emmanuel's website, of course,
Yeah.
and you're meeting various different guitar players and you're turning up to all these shows of yours, when people are coming up to you and you are to them what Chet Atkins was to you,
Mm.
what's that feeling like?
Uh, well, it, it's nice, but and it is a responsibility, and I don't want to take it for granted, and I don't want to get jaded about it because it's very easy to think that if you say something at the right time, you know, you can really influence somebody in the right way. Except that 99% of people listen, they ask for advice, then they do nothing about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's hard to get like, why am I wasting my time? These people are not doing what I'm telling them. And so, you know, and that's to me is not a good place to be because firstly, I mustn't go around thinking that I know everything and that what I say is important. My opinion is just my opinion. It's not, you know, the Mona Lisa. It's just and the only thing that I can do is speak the truth and speak from reality, from my experience in a way to help somebody, you know. It's really hard to get across to people that a you're going to have to work all your life if you want to get any good at this. I'm not talking about, you know, a 5 year course at a college or any of that stuff. That's just the beginning,
Hmm.
you know. This never ends. You know what I mean? I'm still learning, listening, looking, trying to take everything in and get better. And I'm 68 years old, and I feel like I'm starting to get somewhere, you know? I feel like I'm starting to understand my mission here on earth and also um, be comfortable with who I am, you know. But you know, people are always looking for the shortcut.
Right.
A lot of that's to do with this,
Hmm.
right? Um, that, but I can tell you, and I have looked all my life, and Chet will tell you the same thing. He and I are the same in this. We've been looking for the shortcuts all our lives, and we realize there are none.
Hmm.
It takes time, it takes dedication, and you've got to be patient, but you've got to be dedicated. You know, it's not going to just rise up and hit you like a hammer after a couple of years. You may be able to play well enough to impress a few people, but that's neither here nor there. There's a long road ahead, and you've just got to be there for the long haul, you know, and find your voice, find what your sound is. Having said that, I want to. I, I'd like to say something that's really important, Scott, and that's this. People are always concerned to play for me because A, they think, well, he's better than me. How can he possibly be interested in what I'm playing? And secondly, oh my God, I'm playing one of his songs for him, you know? Well, that's normal. I think it's nature's way that we all start out emulating someone else. There has to be someone or some music or some style that lights a fire in us, right? So I think it's right and the right way to go to find somebody that lights that fire. Try to play like them, emulate them, and go for it, and then slowly the rest of the styles that you like will start to infiltrate, and then somewhere in the middle of all that work and learning, your sound, your style, your voice will appear. It just takes time. But I believe that people shouldn't be, paranoid that, oh, I didn't want to play for you because I didn't want you to think I was copying you. And I always say, well, I copied everyone else, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Great advice.
anyway,
Absolutely great advice.
thank
Truly
you.
appreciate all of this.
Mm,
One of your quotes that I've seen recently, and it's stuff to live by, right?
thank you.
Surprise equals entertainment.
That's
This
right.
is a great quote. I'll let you expand upon this and how this applies to you and indeed everybody else.
Well, it comes back to watching clever people who, like the Marx Brothers, the timing of their comedy, the timing of things, and how they use it is where the entertainment is. It's not just what they had to say, or or like the last thing you expected them to say is what cracked you up. You know what I mean? That's a surprise. So when I'm coming up with an arrangement of a song, I'm always looking for ways I can use a surprise element. Like, for instance, yes, I'm playing the melody as it was written because I always respect the melody, the composer. I wouldn't enter into arranging a song if I didn't really love it and wanted to play it well. So um, uh, what I try to do is make my arrangement full of surprises. Like quote the melody exactly, but maybe change a chord here and there, and do a key change or something like that when people least expect it. And this keeps people on the edge of their seat. What the hell's he going to do next? And that's entertaining. That's what entertainment is 90% of it is surprise me, keep me entertained, keep me engaged. And so I tried to do. I remember when I was arranging "Close to You," the
Mm-hmm.
Carpenters song, which is actually Burt Bacharach wrote that song, and I said to myself, "Okay, this song has been done to death. Billions of people know it. Everyone's had a go at it. If I'm going to do it, I have to do something completely different with it. So I'm going to have to surprise the listener at every turn." So I did stuff like I found a nice key to play the song in where I could get group harmonies underneath the melody. But then each time it went through the do do da do do da do da dee da 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 da, like that. Each one of those had an unresolved and then resolved sound, unresolved and then resolved. So it's like you're listening to it and it's like it's shuffling you around, and then close to you. Instead of hitting the straight major chord, I hit this like slightly bent, unresolved sound. And no one's ever done that in that song, not that I've heard. So, things like that keep keep me engaged with the song and gives me a chance to add my personality quirks into my playing. Understand what I mean?
Absolutely.
Mm,
No, this again, it's a brilliant insight, and the
thank you.
arrangements of all of those songs are brilliant, and it keeps the audience on our toes as well.
Mm.
So this is almost like a part two of that. Now that I read it, this is a question from a brilliant guitar player called Natasha Thompson. By the way, you want to check her
Ah,
out, Tommy? Like
I bet.
she's I'm pretty sure she's a witch, right? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of witchcraft going on there. Phenomenal, right? So Natasha's asking, can you describe a special moment on stage that was completely unplanned but turned out to be something pretty special in the moment?
Yeah. Well, something that changed my direction as a performer was the night that I was playing. I was playing in this club with my brother Phil, and we were having a hell of a time, having a great time. And we were in the middle of Santana's Europa, and my brother with his Strat is wailing away, and the audience are just like this, you know. And Phil breaks a string on the Strat, and if you know anything about Fender Stratocasters, when you break a string, the whole guitar goes out of tune. You know, if you break a string on a Telecaster, it almost stays in tune, but not a Strat. It goes all out of tune. And in the middle of where we've brought the the level of emotion and excitement to the audience, suddenly Phil's taken out of the picture, and he breaks the string like this, and he just turns to me and says, "Take it," and walks off. And I'm like, I'm playing an acoustic guitar with a pickup, and I'm like, "Take what?" You know? And he just walked off. So I crank the guitar flat out and start improvising stuff, and then I start banging on the guitar, and all of a sudden I made a sound by banging on the guitar that really was like the audience started yelling and screaming. So I started banging away on it just like a drummer, and that's how I started playing drums on the guitar. It was just that he said, "Take it," and I said, "Take what?" kind of thing. And you know, and out of sheer desperation, trying to entertain, keep the audience engaged, I invented a drum solo right there and then on the acoustic guitar. I'd never seen anybody do that, you know, and it gave birth to what I do now, kind of thing, you know, and it was pretty wild indeed, you know. You're talking, you know, rock and roll band volume of an acoustic guitar through a PA, and I mean, I was really going at it, and that's how that was born. It was an awakening of like, hey, guess what else you can do,
Hmm.
you know?
Oh, it's brilliant stuff. How these little moments, like a string break, what on paper is a negative, you're turning that into an even bigger positive.
Yeah. Well, I was on the spot, you know. We we had really turned that night into something incredible. My brother was on fire. I was like a band behind him, and we were really going at it. And then it was like, take it, you know. It was like it was just desperation. And thank I always thank God for the gift of desperation. God, God, gift of desperation.
Another great saying that I'm going to steal from you, and I'm going to take it as my own.
Oh,
Um,
there's a few of those. Group of drunks,
I like that one as well.
good orderly direction.
Just have a plaque up with all of these. Great. A new kind of take on religion. So further to that, you're mentioning there about different kind of comedians. When I mentioned that last phrase, you're bringing up how surprise equals entertainment. You equated that to comedians. Another interview that I've seen with you, you're talking about how you got one of your medleys from when you were in a shopping mall and you heard the piano player like playing the chords that you wouldn't usually play, and you were trying to
Yeah, that
trans.
was Moon River.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
is there
Uh,
any other kind of? Oh, sorry, I'll let you.
no, I was going to say, I was walking through the airport, and I heard da dee dee da 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 da, and I recognized it straight away as Moon River, of course. But what the chords the guy put in there were like, holy shit, you know.
Mhm.
And I stopped and got my guitar out and found them, and right there, you know. Anyway, go on.
No, I was just going to say that there's kind of unexpected sources of inspiration there. The shopping mall, you're talking about comedians as well. Is there anything else that you can think of that you would frame that as that? That was a kind of unexpected way that inspired me to do this song or to make me play this way. Is there anything else that springs to mind?
Well, the answer to that is um, the older I get, the more I believe it's important for me to remain open.
Hmm.
You know, it's important for me to always look for a different idea, always be willing to try something. Like, for instance, have you ever heard Mike Dawes and I play "Smells Like Teen Spirit"?
I have.
Right. Okay. So I would have never thought that doing an instrumental of "Smells Like Teen Spirit" would ever work. Right. So when Mike came and opened my shows for about the very first tour, I walked past his dressing room and heard him playing that, playing the song, and I said, "Holy smoke, that's really good. Can I join you for a second?" He said, "Yeah, come on." So I grabbed my guitar and and you know it started to take shape already, but I needed to know the melody better. So what I did then is I went straight to YouTube and got on Nirvana's version, the original, the composer, and I listened to him sing it. I didn't listen to the backing so much. I wasn't interested in that because Mike had all that down. I was interested in hearing Kurt Cobain sing the song, and that gave me uh, the right way to find the melody and be the player, be the singer in the arrangement of two guitars, and it just opened up another whole world to me. And so the principle, the gist of what I'm just saying is, I learned to always remain open and always be teachable and always be searching, for something new to do. And that song right there could have led me to a whole other another couple of years of a different direction, which is great. It means I'm growing. It means I'm learning and changing, and that's important to me. I never want to be gathering moss. Never.
It's great because what you're saying there is very interesting. The words that you're saying are almost word for word of an interview that the last time we spoke, actually, on the very same week, we had another guitar player on from Australia called Orianthi. Are you
Yeah, I
familiar
know
with?
Orianthi.
Yeah,
She's brilliant,
yeah.
brilliant girl. I
She
was so proud of her when she got the job with Michael Jackson. I was beyond proud. You know.
because she's one of these people who, like I said in that last interview, she was saying, I'm always wanting to learn, I'm always wanting to get better. And I think that's a
Yeah.
big inspiration to us all when you see when you hear like Jimi Hendrix practicing 6 and 7 hours a day and all the rest of it. The people at the top of their game are always searching to get better. Well, it seems to me anyway.
Of course.
But no, that's great, and I'm so glad that you've seen Orianthi play and you're a big fan of her, like we all
Oh,
are.
absolutely. She's incredible. And, I mean, and uh, you know, Tal Wilkenfeld. Holy
Yeah.
smoke! I mean, these young ladies are showing the world the way in what they're doing. They're changing our world. They're laying down a foundation for the next younger generation to follow, and to see that, okay, you go and see those girls play, but you know you're going to know how hard they've worked to get there. So you better get to work now. Don't waste any time.
Brilliant. I'm going to throw another name at you just as we're talking about guitar players. Have you heard much of Kaki King?
Yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant guitar player. I'm a huge fan of her. Similar to what you were saying there about like people that are changing the way and progressing and all the rest of it. So, we mentioned at the very start, we mentioned it again, the UK tour coming up, right? So, what can everybody expect from this time round? What have you got in store for us?
Well, I thought I'd be a lazy old bum and just play half an hour and walk off.
Brilliant.
Yeah, not. um, well, I'm really, really thrilled to have Molly Tuttle uh,
Mhm.
coming on this tour with me. And I was so excited when my manager said, "Why don't we ask Molly if she'd like to do the tour?" And it's the perfect choice because we had just recorded the song White Freightliner Blues for my last album, Accomplice 2. And that was one take. She nailed it in one take. The vocal, all the guitar playing, everything straight down, one take. Unbelievable. and she's so good live. And I just thought, she needs to get going in England, Scotland, and Ireland, and people need to hear her. And there's a magical connection between English, Scottish, and Irish music and bluegrass music. There's a magic connection there, and I love that about music. It's like it's a different language, but the message is the same. It's beautiful. So I saw Molly the other day in San Jose. We were both at the airport at the same time, and I said to her, do you want me to come up with some suggestions for what we do?" And she said, "Yes, please. Give me some homework. So that's a wonderful thing. See, this is what happens. I got a text this morning from my friend Brian Sutton, one of my favorite guitar players. And the day after tomorrow, on Saturday, I'll be at his house recording a song with him. He texted me and he said, "Do you know this song?" And I said, "No, I don't know it." He said, "Better have a look for it." So I did. And I found it, and I've already been working on it this morning, So that's what happens,
Right. So we're mentioning about touring, of course, the tour coming up. Very excited about it. You can get all the dates on Tommy Emmanuel's website. It's all there,
Yeah.
and I'll be at the Glasgow gig. Can't wait for it. So practicing on the roads, how are you managing to keep the chops up in the acoustic? Do you have to have a dedicated time set aside during the day? Right, I need an hour, or is it more kind of organic than that? How does it work out?
I play when I feel like it. The truth is that like I came in from America to be here for Christmas with my kids and everything, and I had a week of not being able to sleep at night, and I don't know why. So I was playing from 2 a.m. till like 5 in the morning, and then going back to bed. And I'm staying in a hotel, so I went to an area where there wasn't close to all the rooms, so I could sit and play. And I've been working on a new song all this week, and I'm trying to finish it, trying to write it, and trying to get it done. I have never had a set practice routine because my life is not that. Well, my lifestyle it's not that easy, you know. Basically, one of the reasons I love touring is because I get to do little else but play music. You know, I'll do radio or TV. I do meet and greet. I get a chance to work on my guitars and restring a lot and spend time tuning and all that sort of stuff. And so I'm completely engulfed in my musical life. When I come here, my number one priority is my family. So I have to put my desire to play all the time aside and put my 100% attention to my family. Yesterday's classic example. I didn't play yesterday because I didn't get a chance. I had to get up and drive down near Southampton, take the ferry across to the Isle of Wight, and be with my grandchildren. Spent the whole day with them, and then drive all the way back, and then be here and do a few phone calls because it was the right time of day, and then get some sleep. And now I'm up doing this. Now I got to drive to Bristol and meet Mike Dawes for lunch. So you know what I'm saying? So I can't have a routine, And tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, I'll be on a plane flying to Atlanta, and then on to Nashville. I'll get home about 7 o'clock Friday night, and then I'll be up Saturday morning going over this song with Brian, and then we'll record it. And then Saturday night, I got to play with Susie Boggess in Nashville. So that's just an example of a couple of days out of my life. I don't have the luxury of being able to do nothing but play the guitar. I'm busy all the time.
Busy all the time he is, and he's got a UK tour coming up. You can check out all the dates on the website.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Really, we all are. A surprise equals entertainment. What are we going to get in Glasgow? Nobody knows, but there is one guarantee. After the gig, Tommy Emmanuel will be wearing the Loch Ness Monster t-shirt and he'll be eating all the shortbread known to man. That's the one guarantee that we can have coming up for this UK tour. Tommy Emmanuel, the shortbread addict, thank you very much for talking to me during the holidays. Truly, truly appreciate it.
Great, lad.